One of the biggest mysteries behind the Erebus disaster of November the 28th, 1979 was why pilot Jim Collins failed to see the 13,000-foot volcano ahead of him. Why had he taken no evasive action and instead flown blindly towards a mountain at 500 kilometers an hour? The man who did most to solve the mystery was Gordon Vetty, an Air New Zealand captain and friend of the dead pilot Jim Collins. Arthur Cooper was a contemporary of both men.
Gordon Vetty, he a remarkable person, and he was the most accomplished pilot in every way that I've ever known. He was, you know, he had a great reputation and he deserved every part of it. I always thought he had a bit of ego, but he deserved it.
Vetty had flown one of the earlier sightseeing flights to Antarctica and wondered whether he too might have crashed. Vetty's son Mark remembers his father beginning a study that would explore the interface between technology and the human brain.
He'd been mulling this over for some time, working with a number of other people. We hooked him up with some of the psychologists in the psychology department at Auckland University that I worked with, and so he was already starting to consider, perceptual influences, illusory effects, while he was still doing his analysis of where the flight went and what the other possibilities were. And it literally clicked, and it was an aha moment.
And the aha moment was the realization that Jim Collins's eyes had betrayed him.
We all believed that there was no problem to separate yourself visually from any terrain using our normal tools of trade, the eyes. What we didn't realize, of course, is that you can have 200 miles of visibility and still fly slap into a mountain.
Paul Davidson was a lawyer for the Collins family. Vetty wanted to help.
Gordon came in to talk about what he had, or what he was finding out about visual perception. And he was very energetic in that field, and he was convinced that the crew were misled by what they saw as being consistent with what they expected to see.
When the DC10 took off, November the 28th, 1979, the plane and its pilot had effectively been programmed to fly to two different destinations. Unbeknown to Jim Collins, Air New Zealand changed the route 6 hours prior to takeoff, moving the navigation track 27 miles to the east. And so, as he reached the final waypoint on his computerized navigation track, he thought he was flying down McMurdo Sound. But he wasn't. He was flying into Lewis Bay, 27 miles to the left of where he thought he was. What Gordon Vetty worked out was that while the scale was slightly different, these two landscapes were identical. And Jim Collins and his crew pressed on, unaware that the false horizon ahead of them was an optical illusion. And 257 people died instantly. Gordon Vetty solved the mystery of why Jim Collins failed to see the mountain, but it didn't win him any friends amongst Air New Zealand's management pilots. Son, Mark Vetty.
Over time he got ousted, basically. They pushed him out.
Gordon Vetty died in 2015, but he is remembered in aviation circles for making flying safer. He changed the way air accidents are investigated by including human factors, and was responsible for making sure commercial airliners have forward-looking ground proximity warning systems. I'm Garry McAlpine, and this is Erebus Flight 901, Litany of Lies.